Jake Ludington here at HP Discover, and I'm here with Helen Tang. And one of the things that's kind of a common theme that seems to be happening here at the show is that there's all these technologies that are kind of changing, and on top of the change of technology is the fact that IT professionals are going to need to change their skills a little bit to keep up. Can you speak to how the CIOs might need to deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very exciting time for IT. So if you're an IT professional, the next 10 years is probably going to be the most exciting 10 years of your career. With the new style of IT that HP is advocating, you're going to see extreme levels of agility, flexibility, speed like you've never seen before. So to get ready for that, we need a new style of IT professionals as well. So I want to speak to two sides of that coin. First, if you're a CIO or an IT manager, you're in management, what do you need to do? Well, we've seen lots of polls conducted by firms like McKinsey that say, gosh, in 10 years, there's going to be a huge shortage of IT skill sets. Some estimates close to 20 million. Why is that? Well, because there's a generation that's retiring, that's for one. But the more important reason is IT is transitioning, but we have sort of organically grown these siloed IT professionals. People train themselves in their entire career to be a server admin, to be a storage admin, a network admin. But that world is converging, right? We're going to see new fabric-based architectures, converged infrastructures that bring together all of them. You want to be able to architect them as a whole, manage them as a whole, and that's a very different skill set. So for a CIO or somebody in IT management to get ahead of that future skill shortage, they basically need to do three things. Number one, strategize today. Don't wait. Go to your HR department and say, this is coming down the pike. What do we need to do to get ahead of that? Number two, identify gaps. Look at your existing skill force and figure out where do they need more training, or where do I perhaps need to hire a different set of professionals. Last but not least is put an action plan together, right? Go to HP, for example. We have training certification resources that is available either web-based, instructor-led, on-site on your location, or at HP's training facilities that train and certifies the next generation of IT professionals. So that's what the CIO needs to start thinking about, get ahead of the future IT skills gap.
And it sounds like that skills gap is actually not necessarily a skills gap across the organization, but among individuals, because what you're describing there sounds like individuals are going to need to be cross-trained on lots of disciplines instead of specializing in one.
Exactly. So the industry is moving towards these converged architectures that require more generalists and specialists. Not to say completely the role of server storage network admin is going away, but if you look at the job trends, because we've had such a slow recovery in the economy, the net number of IT jobs haven't really increased. People just got more efficient. However, the number that are openings that are available, 80 to 90% of them require cloud-related skills. They want cloud masters, or convergence-related skills, people that can understand the data centers of tomorrow and how to architect it for it. So it's not so much that they need to go deeper. There's still going to be some necessity for specialists, but the vast majority of the organization need to become more generalist, understand not just one silo, but the entire data center, and become business specialists as well, being able to converse with the business side on how IT can fulfill their needs across the next 5 years or so.
So you talked about kind of three strategic things that the CIO needs to do. What does the IT professional need to do in that?
Exactly, right? So you want to get ahead of that curve and really position yourself for sort of the next phase of your career. And what you need to do is actually the exact same three steps, but of course think about it with your own personal career goals in mind. So number one, also strategize. Figure out what do you want to be when you grow up, right? In 3 to 5 years, do you want to be a CIO? Do you want to be an architect? Which direction do you want to go? Number two, identify gaps that you have today. A lot of IT folks really understand technology very well, but perhaps you need to beef up more on communication skills, skills about being able to make a business case about new technologies to the business side, and be able to take their requirements and transport that into actual designs for the data center for the next phase of the platforms. So that's step number two, right? Come up with the strategy, identify gaps, and lastly, how do you get trained? I want to introduce a great website. It's called myexpertone.com that HP offers it basically gives the IT professional a personalized career trajectory. So you can go in, look at the free training classes, map out your own gaps, and figure out what do you need to do in the next 18 months to not have a lot of your skills become obsolete, but rather become the next wave of cloud masters or convergence architects.
I'm going to key in on one word that you said there. This is free training. So HP is actually kind of subsidizing the facilitation of learning for the next generation of IT professionals?
Absolutely. So there's a combination of free training, web-based training, instructor-led training, and there's a community. So you can connect with other individuals like yourself, and you can ask questions and say, hey, who's got experience deploying a large-scale, 1,000 cluster Hadoop? Or you can go and look at the job boards and figure out which industries or which companies within your own industry are hiring the next generation of cutting-edge architects, and perhaps there's an opening for you.
All right, well that sounds like a good place to start. Thanks, Helen.
Thanks a lot, Jake.